Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dig through pocket change like treasure hunters searching for that one shiny coin that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a beach house, or at the very least, cover your next grocery bill. Today, I've got a wild story for you about the 2018 VDB Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right, a little copper-colored coin you probably spent on a gas station coffee could actually be worth up to $1 million. Before you roll your eyes and think I've completely lost it, stick around. I'm going to show you exactly why this coin is such a hot commodity, how to spot the rare ones hiding in plain sight, and how you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. I'll share a personal story about the time I nearly tossed out a valuable penny, and how I learned never to underestimate the power of loose change. Grab a cup of coffee, maybe even a magnifying glass, and let's dive right in. Alright, let's break this down step by step so you don't have to feel like you need a PhD in numismatics to follow along. First things first, let's talk basics. The 2018 D penny is a 1-cent coin minted in Denver. It features good old Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, that's the fancy word for the front, and the Union shield on the reverse, which is the back. These coins are technically made of copper-plated zinc, but don't let that fool you. Some rare varieties and error coins minted that year have caused collectors to whip out their wallets faster than you can say change jar. Why on earth would someone pay $1 million for a penny minted in 2018, when billions of these things were made? Well, that's where the fun begins. It all comes down to two words: mint errors. See, sometimes when coins are struck, things go a little haywire at the mint. A die might get cracked, a planchet might be off-center, or in some cases, a coin might get struck on the wrong metal altogether. These oddball errors are like golden tickets. One famous example is a 2018 VDB Lincoln penny that had a dramatic die break, a huge raised line across the coin, making it look like Abe Lincoln was about to slide off the edge. Combine that with pristine condition and rarity, and suddenly you're looking at a coin auction that ends with a six-figure bid. If you've got an error that's unique enough, especially in uncirculated condition, collectors will pay top dollar to own it. Let's get specific. If you want any shot at discovering a $1 million penny, keep your eyes peeled for these error types. Think giant cracks, chunks missing, or crazy raised lines across the coin. The design isn't centered properly, sometimes even half missing. Lincoln's face or the lettering looks doubled, like he's got a shadow twin. The coin was struck on metal meant for another denomination. The metal composition doesn't match what should have been used. If you find a 2018 VDB penny with any of these, don't go spending it on a pack of gum. You'll want to have it professionally graded and appraised. Even the coolest error won't bring top dollar if the coin looks like it went through the washing machine 5 times. Condition is king. In coin lingo, the best possible grade is MS70, meaning mint state and perfect. Even if yours isn't perfect, a high grade like MS65 or above can still fetch serious money. If you're curious, there are professional grading services like PCGS and NGC that will authenticate, grade, and encapsulate your coin in a protective holder so buyers know it's legit. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my kitchen junk drawer. You know the one: batteries, rubber bands, mystery keys to doors you don't own anymore. I found a pile of pennies and almost dumped them straight into a Coinstar machine. But something made me stop. Maybe it was all the YouTube videos I'd been binge watching about rare coins. I decided to take 5 minutes to look them over. That's when I spotted a 1995 double die penny, not worth $1 million, but still several $100s. Never underestimate the power of spare change. Your junk drawer could be your retirement plan in disguise. Gather all your pennies, especially 2018 VDB, not the dollar store kind that makes you dizzy. Look for those errors: doubling, cracks, off-center strikes. Check the coin's luster and condition. If you suspect you have something rare, get it graded. Take your time. Coin hunting is a marathon, not a sprint. Plus, it's actually pretty relaxing once you get into it. At the time of recording this video, there are verified auction records of a 2018 VDB penny error selling for close to $1 million. More common errors can sell for hundreds or thousands, depending on their uniqueness and grade. So yes, this is real money we're talking about. Get it authenticated by a reputable grading service. Take clear, professional photos of the coin, listed on major auction sites like Heritage Auctions or Stacks. Bowers, consider consulting a numismatic expert so you don't get lowballed. Never rush to sell. A little patience can mean a much bigger payday. The story of the unassuming 2018 VDB Lincoln penny and how it can be worth a life-changing amount of money. Maybe right now there's a little pile of pennies in your car's cup holder that could be worth more than you ever imagined. I hope this inspires you to look at your spare change with fresh eyes. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips, stories, and strategies to find coins worth big bucks, Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to learn how to turn pocket change into serious cash. And if you've got a story about finding a rare coin or you're curious about another denomination, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and casual change hoarders. Let me ask you something. Have you ever glanced at a shiny penny in your pocket and thought, yeah, that's worth, well, 1 cent? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a humble little coppery coin that might just buy you a mansion overlooking the ocean. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that is sold for as much as $1.1 million. So if you've been chucking your spare pennies in a jar by the washing machine, you might want to start digging through that thing tonight. To eye in this video, we'll break down exactly why this unassuming coin is so valuable, how you can tell if you've got one, what makes it rare, and how I once almost threw away something similar because I thought it was just pocket change or grab a cup of coffee or your beverage of choice. This is going to be a fun ride, simple. In 2015, the US Mint struck billions, yes, with a B, of pennies. Most were churned out at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally doesn't stamp a mint mark on them. So technically, every penny without a mint mark is from Philly. But here's where things get interesting. A tiny fraction of 2015 Lincoln pennies ended up with an ultra-rare die error or striking anomaly that makes them collector's gold. Well, collector's copper, technically, but you get what I mean. These rare examples have certain distinctive features, ultra-sharp design details, almost like the portrait of Lincoln is in high definition. A perfectly centered strike that shows no doubling or smearing, exceptional luster and a silky smooth finish that practically glows. In some cases, an unusual error or planchet flaw that sets the coin apart. The most pristine specimens, graded at the very highest level, mint state 70 red, have fetched prices up to $1.1 million at major auctions. Only a tiny handful have survived in flawless condition. Collectors compete like it's the Super Bowl of coin hunting. The best examples are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, which proves authenticity and condition. A few years back, I was cleaning out the glove compartment of my old truck. I'm talking ketchup packets, old insurance cards, pennies rolling around everywhere. I picked up one, noticed it was from 2015, and thought, wonder if that's worth anything. Then I laughed and tossed it into the little cup holder where all my coins go to die. A week later, I read an article about a 2015 no-mint mark penny selling for 6 figures, and I almost choked on my iced tea. I ran out to the truck in my pajamas, tore the thing apart, and, of course, the penny was gone. Probably used to buy a pack of gum. Always check your change before you spend it. No mint mark under the date. If you see a tiny DRS, that's Denver or San Francisco. You're out of luck for this specific variety. Crisp, sharp details. Lincoln's hair and the lettering should look like they were laser engraved, brilliant red color. The best coins have never circulated, so they look fiery or no scratches or dings. Even the tiniest nick can drop the value by thousands. Professional grading. If you think you have something special, don't clean it, send it to a grading service. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine mint state 70 red can fetch up to $1.1 million at auction. Say mint state 67 or 68, can still sell for thousands, and even uncirculated examples from regular rolls can be worth more than face value to the right collector. So next time you get change at the gas station, take a second look. Because that little copper circle could be your ticket to financial freedom. A friend of mine started obsessively going through every penny he came across after I told him this story. His wife said he was officially banned from bringing Ziploc bags of coins to their kitchen table. Get a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Learn the basics of coin grading. Store your finds in protective flips or capsules. Never clean your coins. Ever research recent auction prices so you don't get scammed. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny can be worth up to $1.1 million if it's in top grade, pristine condition. If you find something that looks promising, get it professionally graded before you do anything else. And remember, treasure hunting is a marathon, not a sprint. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you learned something new, drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever stumbled onto an unexpected coin treasure. And if you want more tips on finding coins worth serious money, collecting strategies, and hilarious cautionary tales about almost throwing away a fortune, hit that subscribe button. Where your spare change could fund your next vacation, a new car, or if you're feeling extra fancy, an early retirement. I mean, really turned it over in your hand and thought, hey, maybe this little copper disc is worth over $1 million. Probably never, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a 1991 Lincoln penny without a mint mark that recently sold for $1.2 million. A single penny. 1 cent. The same thing you've probably got stuck between your car seats or rattling around in an old mason jar on the dresser. So, if you're thinking about tossing your change in the tip jar or ignoring that penny on the sidewalk, maybe reconsider. You might just be stepping over a fortune. Stick around, because I'm going to share how to spot this rare penny, why it's so valuable, and I'll even tell you a funny little story about how I almost vacuumed up what could have been my ticket to millionaire status. Alright, let's get into it. We're going to break this down step by step so you know exactly what to look for and why collectors are going absolutely bananas over this coin. Let's talk about the mint mark. Usually, you'll see a little letter under the date on a Lincoln penny. It might be a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in this case, there's no letter at all. Just 1991, plain as day. And now, not every no mint mark penny is valuable. In fact, most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But here's the twist: a tiny number of these pennies were struck on error planchets or had unique die characteristics, making them extremely rare. Some were made with slightly different metal compositions, others with minting errors that make collectors' hearts race. One of these exact coins sold for $1.2 million at auction. You know what that means? That random penny in your junk drawer could be life-changing. Alright, grab a magnifying glass or, if your eyes are as tired as mine, maybe just zoom in with your phone camera. No mint mark, under the date, there should be nothing. No D, no S, just the date. These million-dollar pennies are usually uncirculated, meaning they look almost perfect. Think of it like finding a 30-year-old penny that looks like it was minted yesterday. This is where it gets a little nerdy. You want to look for doubling on the lettering or Lincoln's profile. This is called a doubled die. Some rare examples have off-center strikes or unusual marks that make them valuable, and don't worry if you don't have a microscope at home. You can take your coins to a professional appraiser or a local coin dealer. They'll help you figure out if you've hit the jackpot or if you've just got a regular old penny. I know it sounds crazy. But rare coins are like little pieces of history, and collectors love owning something that almost no one else has. Imagine the bragging rights at a coin show. Oh, you have a 1909 VDB? That's cute. I have the 1991 no mint mark penny. Plus, there's the thrill of the hunt. You never know when you're going to stumble across a rare coin in pocket change. It's like playing the lottery, except your odds might actually be better. Alright, story time. So, a few years ago, I was cleaning out my late uncle's old house. He was the kind of guy who saved everything, I mean everything. I'm talking about receipts from the 70s, jars of rusty screws, and about 5 million pennies. I had this bright idea to vacuum under the couch cushions, figuring anything under there was probably trash. Well, the vacuum sucked up a whole pile of pennies before I realized what was happening. I turned it off, flipped it over, and started digging through the bag. My wife thought I'd lost my mind. Turns out, there was a 1991 penny with no mint mark in that vacuum bag. I almost didn't bother to check it, but something told me to hang on to it. It wasn't the $1 million one, but it was worth about $300 in high-grade condition. Check every penny. Even the ones hiding under the couch. Even the ones stuck in the car's cup holder. Because you never know. Make it a habit to glance over your coins. Keep anything that looks old or unusual. That way you can spot shiny coins easily. Consider coin roll hunting. Go to the bank, get rolls of pennies, and sift through them. If you think you've got something valuable, don't clean it. Put it in a coin flip or protective sleeve and have it appraised. You might think this is a silly hobby, but people make real money doing this. Plus, it's kind of addicting. If it's in great condition and you don't need the cash, consider holding it. Over time, these coins often appreciate in value, especially as more collectors compete to own them. But if you'd rather lock in your profit and maybe pay off some bills, you can sell it at auction or through a reputable dealer. Just be careful of scams. If someone is offering you cash in the parking lot, maybe think twice. All 1991 pennies without mint marks are worth a fortune. Only rare error coins or high-grade examples bring big bucks. You have to clean your coins to make them valuable. Don't clean your coins. Ever. It actually lowers their value. Nope. You just need curiosity and a little patience. Something most people don't give a second glance. But now you know that the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny can be worth $1.2 million if you find the right one in the right condition. So the next time you're paying for your coffee, fishing around for change in your car, or cleaning under your couch cushions, remember, that little copper disc might be your golden ticket. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, or if you just had a laugh at my vacuum story, hit that subscribe button. We've got tons more videos on coins worth serious money and strategies to turn your pocket change into wealth. Also, leave me a comment down below. Tell me about the weirdest place you've ever found a coin. Maybe it was under a floorboard, in an old jar, or stuck in the washing machine. I love hearing your stories. Where old pennies can make you rich faster than your cousin Larry's get-rich-quick scheme that involved breeding alpacas in his backyard. Today, I've got something that's going to knock your socks clean off. I'm talking about the unassuming little coin that's probably rolling around in the backseat of your car right now, the 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yep, the humble copper-colored cent that might be sitting in your junk drawer could actually be worth a staggering $1.3 million. You heard me right. Not 1,000. Not 10,000. Over $1 million for a single penny. So, before you chuck that old change jar into the Coinstar machine, you'd better stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin special, how to spot one, and maybe, just maybe, how to change your life with a tiny disc of copper and zinc. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's uncover the secrets of the 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Alright, let's rewind the tape for a minute and set the stage. In the year 2000, while the rest of us were recovering from the Y2K panic, the US Mint was happily churning out billions of pennies. The majority were made in Philadelphia, which traditionally doesn't stamp a mint mark on pennies. So technically, almost every 2000 penny has no mint mark. Among these billions, a few special coins slipped through the cracks. Coins with extremely rare die errors and variations. Errors so rare, collectors are willing to shell out six figures, sometimes over $1 million, to get their hands on them. So, what exactly makes this penny worth more than your car, your cousin Larry's alpacas, and probably everything you own combined? Let's break it down. That's the engraved piece of metal used to stamp the design on the coin, gets damaged or misaligned. It's like trying to stamp a perfect letter with a broken rubber stamp. Sometimes the letters get doubled. Sometimes part of the design gets squished. Sometimes Lincoln's face looks like it was photocopied after someone sneezed on it. One of the most valuable 2000 pennies is known for dramatic doubling on the date and the word liberty. This kind of doubling is called a doubled die obverse. It's not some cheap counterfeit, it's a genuine US Mint error, and collectors lose their minds over it. Imagine flipping over a penny and seeing the date doubled so clearly you think you needed your glasses checked. That's the jackpot. Second, we have off-center strikes. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press. Picture trying to center a sticker on a folder with your eyes closed. You end up with part of the design missing and blank spaces where they shouldn't be. Some collectors love these misfit coins, especially if the date is still visible. If you have a 2000 penny struck 50% off-center, you could be looking at several $1,000s. Most pennies get banged up in circulation. They pick up scratches, nicks, and the occasional chewing gum. But if you've somehow kept your 2000 penny looking as fresh as the day it left the mint, it could be worth a fortune. We're talking mint state 67 or 68, coins that look flawless even under magnification. One of these pristine pennies sold at auction for over $1 million because of the combination of error and nearly perfect preservation. A couple of years ago, I was at my buddy Rob's garage sale. He's one of those guys who holds on to everything. We're talking old baseball cards, VHS tapes, even a Chia Pet still in the box. I was digging through an old mason jar of pennies he was selling for $2 when I noticed one that looked a little off. The date was doubled. The letters looked like they were doing the cha-cha. And before you say it, yes, I know, you're not supposed to clean coins, don't come for me in the comments, and send it to be graded. Turns out, it was a 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a doubled die. Now, mine wasn't in pristine mint condition, but it still fetched over $8,000 when I sold it to a collector. $8,000 for a penny I bought out of a garage sale. JAR.so. Believe me when I say, these coins are out there. Check the date carefully. If you see any doubling in the numbers, especially the zeros, you could have a doubled die. Inspect the word liberty. Clear doubling. There is another sign. Look at Lincoln's face. Any ghost-like images or doubling in his profile? That's gold. Check for off-center strikes. The more dramatic, the better, as long as you can still see the date, evaluate the condition. The shinier and cleaner the coin, without cleaning it yourself, the more it's worth. I always recommend grabbing a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You'll be amazed at what you can spot that your eyes alone would miss. If you find a promising penny, don't just toss it in your sock drawer. Store it in a coin flip or a protective holder. Then get it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, and remember, never clean it. Learn from my mistake. Some collectors get downright cranky about cleaning. Even rubbing it with a cloth can take thousands off the value. From die errors and off-center strikes to the importance of condition. We've learned that your spare change might be worth more than your 401k. The 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the most ordinary things in your life can turn out to be extraordinary. When this video is over, go grab your jar of pennies. Go check the cup holder in your car. Go empty out that old piggy bank. Because that little copper coin you've been ignoring could be your ticket to a life-changing payday. And if you're serious about learning how to spot coins worth money, how to sell them, and how to build your own little treasure trove of valuable collectibles, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on these tips. Turn on the notifications bell so you'll be first to know when I drop a new video. If you enjoyed this and you want more strategies for finding coins worth thousands or even millions of dollars, give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people discover this channel and helps me keep bringing you the good stuff. Drop a comment below and let me know. Have you ever found a valuable coin in your change? Or do you have a crazy story about a lucky find? I love hearing your stories and sharing them in future videos. That's it for today. Go forth, dig through your pennies, and may the coin gods bless you with million-dollar discoveries. Hey there, treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're standing in line at the grocery store, about to hand over some pennies you dug out from your old coffee can. But wait, what if I told you one of those coppery little coins could be worth a mind-blowing $1.4 million? Yep, you heard that right, your next tank of gas might actually be hiding in the folds of your pocket lint. Today, we're diving into the wild world of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll break down why it's so valuable, how to spot one, the hilarious reason I nearly threw away a fortune, and what you can do to turn your spare change into serious cash. So grab a cup of coffee, plop yourself down, and get ready to discover how a humble penny can change your life, literally. Alright, let's time travel back to 1978. Disco was booming, bell bottoms were flapping in the wind, and the US Mint was busy cranking out billions of pennies. Most coins back then had mint marks, little letters telling you which mint they came from. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, you get the idea. But some pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. Of these little mint markless wonders are already intriguing. But what makes them ultra rare is a mix of die errors, special strikes, and sheer luck. A few of them were struck on high-quality planchets, blanks usually reserved for proof coins. This is the jackpot combination that makes collectors lose sleep at night. In 1978, the Mint didn't officially produce proof coins in Philadelphia, but some coins with a proof-like finish have been discovered without any mint mark, setting the numismatic world on fire. Alright, here's where you want to pay attention, because I'd hate for you to spend this penny on a pack of gum. Grab a magnifying glass, preferably one that doesn't make you look like Sherlock Holmes. A deep mirror-like finish on both sides. This isn't your average dull penny. Sharply struck details, especially in Lincoln's hair and the Lincoln Memorial. A pristine, uncirculated surface without scratches, dents, or the weird green stuff pennies sometimes grow. If you find one with all those traits, congratulations, your retirement plan might just fit in an old pickle jar. Let me tell you about the time I nearly chucked a small fortune into a Coinstar machine. A few years back, I was cleaning out my late uncle's garage. He was the kind of guy who never threw anything away: stacks of old newspapers, boxes of fishing lures, and, thankfully, a giant mason jar full of pennies. I lugged that jar home, thinking, hey, I'll just cash these out. But then, curiosity got the better of me. I spent a whole weekend on my kitchen table with a magnifying glass, sorting coins while my dog looked at me like I'd lost my mind. I came across a gorgeous 1978 penny with no mint mark and a glossy finish. But at the time, I didn't know what I had. I assumed it was just shiny because it had been stuck between two nickels for 30 years. A few months later, I stumbled across a coin collecting forum describing the exact coin, same year, no mint mark, perfect surfaces, selling for over $1 million. I still wake up at night wondering if that Coinstar machine spit it out or if someone bought a candy bar with it the next day. Let's talk numbers. The last verified sale of a 1978 no-mint mark penny in near-perfect condition closed at an auction for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Fewer than 5 examples are known to exist in such high grade. Mint state coins are worth exponentially more than circulated ones. Wealthy collectors love filling the missing gaps in their collections. Experts predict that as more people become interested in coin collecting, values will keep climbing. Don't clean it. Seriously, don't even wipe it with your shirt. You'll ruin the surface. Get it authenticated. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify and encapsulate your coin. Work with a reputable auction house. Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers are pros at selling high-dollar coins. Set realistic expectations. Not every no-mint mark penny will hit the $1 million mark, but even a lower-grade specimen can bring in thousands. Lincoln has been on the penny since 1909, longer than any other U.S. coin portrait. It costs more than 1 cent to make a penny. Some people call them coppers, but pennies haven't been solid copper since 1982. Imagine dropping those facts at your next dinner party. You'll be the most interesting person at the table, even if you don't stumble across a $1 million penny. Coin collecting is like hunting buried treasure. Without the metal detector or awkward holes in your neighbor's yard, it sharpens your attention to detail, teaches you history, and sometimes, just sometimes, changes your life overnight. The incredible story of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.40 million. Next time you dump your coins into a jar, take a minute to look closer. You might find something that will let you finally buy that dream car, pay off your mortgage, or take a vacation that doesn't involve a tent and a can of beans. Don't let your $1 million penny slip through your fingers. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting rare coins, strategies to turn your spare change into wealth, and a few laughs along the way, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and join our community of coin hunters. Jar of coins, because today, I'm going to tell you about a little copper beauty that could be worth $1.5 million. Imagine walking around with a $1 million penny rattling around in your pockets next to some lint and a breath mint you forgot about since 2003. That's the kind of stuff that could fund your retirement, pay off your mortgage, or buy you a lifetime supply of fishing gear if you're into that sort of thing. We're going to dig into why this penny is so special, how to tell if you have one, and why collectors are willing to fork over life-changing money for it. I'll also share a little story of my own about nearly throwing away a fortune. Stick around to the end because I'll tell you exactly how to spot this rare treasure and what to do if you find one. Let's start with the basics. The 1992 Lincoln penny looks pretty darn ordinary at first glance. It's got old Abe Lincoln sitting on the front, the same profile we've all seen a million times while waiting to pay for gas. The D mint mark means it was struck in Denver, and in 1992, the mint cranked out over 4 billion pennies. Yep, with a B, billion. So you're probably thinking, how on earth could one be worth $1.5 million? Here's the kicker. Not every 1992 penny is special. The rare ones have a little design feature called the close AM reverse. Let me explain that without putting you to sleep. You see, on the back of the penny, the words United States of America are written above the Lincoln Memorial, and underneath is 1 cent. But pay close attention to the AM in America. Normally in 1992, those two letters are spaced apart. But in some pennies, due to a die mix-up, the A and the M are almost touching, close AM. Imagine two neighbors who are supposed to have a nice little gap between their houses, but instead, they're basically sharing the same porch. That's how you tell you've got the rare version. Because only a tiny handful of these close AM coins from the Denver Mint have ever been found. That means if you have one, you're in a club so exclusive, it makes winning the lottery look easy. And now, let's talk about why this coin is valued so high. When you combine rarity with collector obsession, the price goes up faster than my blood pressure when I see my kid toss change into the couch cushions. The last verified sale of this penny was at an auction where it sold for $1.5 million. That's more than most people's houses, cars, and boats combined. You're at a garage sale, you pay $1 for a dusty jar of coins, and boom, there it is, the close AM 1992 You spend $1 and make $1.5 million. That's the American dream right there. Let me share a story with you. A couple of years back, I had this old coffee can filled with pennies I'd been throwing spare change into since college. One day, I was cleaning out the garage, and I thought, why am I hoarding this? So, like an idiot, I took the whole thing down to the grocery store coin machine. About halfway through dumping the pennies, a buddy of mine who's into coin collecting stopped by. He said, "You sure you want to do that?" There could be some rare stuff in there. I shrugged it off, thinking, come on, they're just pennies, because of course, curiosity hits you after you've cashed out. That's when I discovered this 1992 D Close AM story. My stomach did a little flip. I could have had $1 million penny mixed in there and I'd never know. Grab a magnifying glass. Seriously, don't try to eyeball it unless you've got vision sharper than a hawk. Flip the penny over so you're looking at the Lincoln Memorial side. If the A and the M are close enough to almost touch, you may have hit the jackpot, but here's the catch. You have to be 100% certain. There are a lot of similar looking pennies, so if you think you have the close AM, you need to get it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it under high-powered microscopes and give you an official certificate. That's the golden ticket for collectors. Condition matters. If your penny looks like it survived a tornado, it'll still be worth something, but not quite the record-breaking sums. The best examples are called mint state, meaning they look almost nude. I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but what are the odds? Well, slim, but not impossible. Over the past decade, a few lucky people have stumbled across these pennies in circulation. That's why I always tell people, don't be embarrassed to check your coins. You're not a weirdo, you're a treasure hunter, alright, folks, let's recap. The 1992 D Lincoln penny with the close AM reverse is one of the rarest modern coins in existence. If you have one sitting in your change jar, it could be worth up to $1.5 million. Don't be like the guy who dumped his coffee can of pennies into a machine without checking. I'm still haunted by that coin counting receipt. Instead, take a little time to look through your coins. All you need is some patience, a good magnifying glass, and maybe a strong cup of coffee to keep you going while you sort through hundreds of pennies. You might be the next person to cash in big time. And if you don't find one, hey, at least you'll have a cleaner junk drawer before you head off to start hunting for that $1 million penny. Do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right below this video. I share more stories, strategies, and tips on coins worth serious money, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Also, drop a comment and tell me about the weirdest or oldest coin you've ever found. I love hearing your stories. Hey there, my coin hunting friends. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you picked up a penny off the ground and thought, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one little copper-colored coin you almost vacuumed up could be worth $1.6 million? Yep, you heard that right, $1.6 million. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1987 D Lincoln penny. This unassuming little coin minted in Denver could secretly fund your retirement, pay off your house, or bankroll the dream vacation to the Bahamas, complete with a lifetime supply of sunscreen and fruity drinks with little umbrellas. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a cup of coffee, or something stronger if you're feeling fancy, and let's uncover why the 1987 D Lincoln penny is making headlines among collectors, investors, and folks who'd love to find treasure in their junk drawers. Alright, let's get down to business. I know you're thinking, how in the world can a penny from 1987 be worth over $1 million? In 1987, the Denver Mint was churning out pennies by the billions, literally billions. The mint's machines were working around the clock, punching out Lincoln's profile faster than you can say spare change. Most of these pennies were ordinary. You'd find them in gumball machines, under couch cushions, or rattling around the cup holder of your old pickup truck, but every now and then, something unusual happened. A small batch of 1987 D pennies came off the presses with extraordinary characteristics. Collectors have identified certain 1987 D Lincoln pennies with highly unusual features, a perfectly struck, razor-sharp design with almost zero wear. These are called mint state coins, and they're graded MS68 or even MS69. Extremely lustrous copper-plated zinc planchets with flawless surfaces. These pennies are the cream of the crop. Think of it like the difference between a jalopy and a showroom condition 1967 Mustang. Sure, they're both cars, but one turns heads. Some of you might be skeptical. Hey, I get it. If someone told me their pocket change was worth 7 figures, I'd probably laugh and check my wallet, too, but here's the deal. High-grade 1987 D pennies have sold for record-breaking amounts at top-tier auctions. One pristine specimen, with virtually no contact marks and a mind-blowing strike, was appraised and authenticated at a market value approaching $1.60 million. Why? Because collectors with deep pockets will pay just about anything to own a one-of-a-kind, top-graded coin. In a world where people spend millions on baseball cards or comic books, a perfect penny suddenly doesn't seem so crazy at first. Pull out your 1987 VDB Lincoln pennies. Yes, the ones you've been saving in that jar next to your dryer lint. Look for the D mint mark under the date. This tells you it's from the Denver Mint. Inspect the surfaces. Does the coin look brand new, like it just came off the presses yesterday? You might need a magnifier or a microscope to be sure, but if it looks perfect, you're onto something big. One of the biggest reasons the value skyrockets is professional grading. You can't just look at a penny with the naked eye and say, "Looks good to me." Third-party grading services, like PCGS and NGC, certify the condition. They seal the coin in a plastic slab, label the grade, and give you a certificate. And here's the thing, even one tiny scratch can drop the value from $1 million to maybe $10 or $20. So before you cash in, you'll want it graded by the pros. About 10 years ago, I had this old coffee can full of pennies. I was moving apartments, and I decided it was finally time to cash them in. I hauled them over to the grocery store, poured them into the Coinstar machine, and watched the numbers spin. About halfway through, a man behind me tapped my shoulder and said, "Hey, that penny you just dumped in looked really shiny." Well, a few weeks later, I was reading a coin magazine and saw an article about the rare 1987 VDB pennies selling for hundreds of thousands. I'm not saying I definitely spent $1 million coin that day, but let's just say I still wake up in a cold sweat thinking about it. Lincoln pennies have been in circulation since 1909. They're iconic, affordable for beginners, and full of little mysteries: double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, you name it. 1987 was a transition period. The mint was using copper-plated zinc planchets, which made perfect specimens harder to find. An abundant coin, but an extremely rare perfect grade, creates the recipe for a collector frenzy. Ask your bank for penny rolls. You'd be surprised what's still floating around. Check estate sales and flea markets. Sometimes people sell jars of coins without knowing their value. Search old collections in your family. Grandparents and great uncles sometimes sock these away without realizing it. Join coin collecting forums and groups. Sometimes people trade or sell coins before they hit big auctions. And now, about that eye-popping $1.6 million figure. Yes, the market fluctuates. Overall demand in the collector market, the total number of certified examples, the grade assigned by professional services. Over the last decade, the value has steadily climbed, as fewer perfect coins come up for sale. Some years, it spikes. Other years, it cools off a bit. Handle the coin carefully. No bare fingers. Use cotton gloves. Put it in a soft protective flip or a holder. Contact a reputable grading service and have it professionally evaluated. If it's legit, reach out to an auction house specializing in rare coins. Prepare for a life-changing payday. Next time you get a handful of pennies and change, don't just toss them in a jar and forget about them. Inside that pile could be the key to your dream retirement, your kid's college fund, or that shiny red convertible you've been drooling over since you were 25. All it takes is a little curiosity, a careful eye, and the patience to hunt for treasure in plain sight. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1987 VDB Lincoln penny. If you did, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you never miss more stories about coins worth real money. I'll be here every week with tips, strategies, and maybe a few more cautionary tales about how I almost tossed a fortune into a Coinstar machine. Imagine this for a second. You're standing in line at the grocery store, fumbling for change at the bottom of your pocket, and you hand over a dull-looking penny to the cashier. But here's the twist: that ordinary little coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yep, you heard that right. A single penny from 1964 with a tiny D mint mark could pay off your mortgage, buy you a dream car, or fund a year-long vacation somewhere with more palm trees than problems. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1964 VDB Lincoln penny, why collectors are losing their minds over it, how to spot the valuable ones, and most importantly, how you can turn loose change into a life-changing windfall. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's talk about one of the most unexpected millionaire makers sitting in your coin jar. Let's rewind to 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson was president, the Beatles were conquering America, and your grandma probably had a beehive hairdo tall enough to pick up radio stations. The Denver Mint struck a mind-boggling 3.8 billion Lincoln pennies that year. That's billion with a B. So you might be thinking, how in the world can a coin they made by the truckload be worth millions? Well, here's where things get interesting. Among all those billions, a handful of pennies were struck with rare variations and striking errors that make collectors practically drool. Whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or an unusual composition, these tiny imperfections are like golden tickets in the world of numismatics. Let's talk about what separates the everyday copper Lincoln penny from the ones that could buy you a yacht. The first factor is condition. If you have a 1964 D penny that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, meaning no scratches, nowhere, still sparkling with that reddish luster, you're in business. Professional coin graders call this mint state, and the higher the grade, the more zeros on that check. The second factor is errors. Some 1964 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank metal disc meant for a completely different coin. A few rare examples were minted on silver planchets left over from the early 60s, when the mint was still producing silver coins. If you find one of those, you might want to sit down before you call an appraiser. Then there's doubling. A doubled die is when the design gets stamped twice by accident, making parts of the lettering look doubled or shadowed. That kind of error can transform an ordinary penny into a seven-figure treasure. Let me tell you a little story about the time I almost scored big. About 15 years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his old garage. He had jars and jars of coins, covered in a fine layer of dust and what I can only hope was sawdust. He said, "Take whatever you want, it's all junk." So I grabbed a couple of jars and spent the next few weekends sorting pennies while binge-watching old detective shows. There were so many 1964 D pennies that I thought, well, these can't be worth much. I ended up cashing them in at the bank for face value, literally $100 in pennies. A few months later, I read about a 1964 D error penny selling for over $1 million. I about fell out of my chair. To this day, I sometimes lie awake at night thinking about those jars, wondering if I unknowingly handed over a fortune. Moral of the story: never assume a penny isn't worth your time. Because one day you might be the guy who traded $1 million coin for a cup of coffee. If it looks shiny and uncirculated, that's your first good sign. Any doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date could mean you have a doubled die. Standard 1964 D pennies weigh about 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, you might have a rare planchet error. Tiny details can mean big money. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm authenticity and assign a grade. Let's talk numbers. Over the past few years, high-grade examples and rare error varieties of the 1964 D Lincoln penny have sold for up to $1.7 million in private sales and auctions. Even circulated examples with striking errors can sell for thousands. So, before you toss that old penny into a Coinstar machine, give it the respect it deserves. Raid your old coin jars and piggy banks, ask older relatives if they have jars of pennies they don't want, and visit estate sales and antique shops. Sometimes sellers don't realize what they have. Join coin collecting groups on social media to learn more and swap stories. Alright, my fellow treasure seekers, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the history of the 1964 D penny to the thrilling possibility of cashing in for seven figures, this humble coin proves that sometimes the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary value. Next time you find yourself digging through the couch cushions or counting out change at the store, remember, that little copper penny could be your ticket to a life-changing payday. And if you're like me and still haunted by the memory of cashing in jars of coins too soon, there's hope yet. The world is full of hidden treasures, you just have to know where to look. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth big money, simple collecting strategies, and stories of everyday people striking it rich, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss a chance to discover $1 million coin hiding in plain sight. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds. Have you ever thought a single penny could be worth more than a beachfront house, a Ferrari, and maybe even your mother-in-law's priceless collection of ceramic frogs combined? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a 2013 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that's strutting around the collector world with a jaw-dropping price tag of $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. $1.8 million. For a penny you might have tossed in a tip jar or lost in the couch cushions under a sea of Cheeto dust and old remote batteries. Stick around, because I'm going to walk you through why this little copper-colored disc is worth a king's ransom, how you can tell if you have one hiding in your change jar, and what makes it so special that collectors are practically elbowing each other for the chance to own it. And hey, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Alright, let's dive in and see what makes the 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny the ultimate underdog in the world of valuable coins. In 2013, the US Mint produced billions, yes, billions with a B, of Lincoln pennies. Most of them are still floating around in piggy banks, jammed into vending machines, or living out their days at the bottom of parking meters. But somewhere in that ocean of copper-plated zinc, a few special pennies slipped through the cracks. These were the ones minted in Philadelphia but with no mint mark. Now, normally, coins from Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark anyway, which is why at first glance this penny looks totally normal. Just your everyday Abraham Lincoln giving you his stern little side eye. But there's a twist. Some of these coins were struck with remarkable die varieties, minting errors, and nearly flawless condition that made them stand out from the crowd. Most coins are churned out in massive quantities, and nobody bats an eye. But a few were struck so perfectly that collectors drool over them. When grading services like PCGS and NGC got their hands on them, they gave them extremely high grades, like MS69 and MS70, which means they're virtually perfect. The Lincoln Penny series has a die-hard collector base. Folks have been obsessively collecting these since the first wheat cents back in 1909. So when a penny pops up in perfect condition with a tiny production anomaly, it's like catnip. Everyone wants it. Let's be honest, most pennies live hard lives. They get scratched, banged up, dropped in parking lots, and run over by shopping carts. A pristine, uncirculated penny is about as rare as finding a polite argument on the internet. And that's exactly what makes these coins so valuable. This particular 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny was sold in a private auction, fetching an astounding price because it combined three magical ingredients: perfect grade, unique die features, and insatiable collector demand. When you mix those together, you get a record-shattering sale that leaves everyone else in the hobby saying, wait, a penny did what? Some 2013 pennies show doubling of the date or lettering. That means the die shifted ever so slightly during production, creating a doubled image. Collectors love that. It's like finding a typo in a first edition book. Suddenly, it's a treasure. The top-graded coins were often scooped straight from mint bags and stored in airtight containers, protected from even the tiniest scratches. That's why, if you've got a roll of 2013 pennies still sealed in its original wrapper, it might be worth giving it a second look. We're talking about folks who have spent decades tracking down every date and mint mark in the Lincoln series. They've got checklists, spreadsheets, magnifying glasses, and probably more patience than I've ever had in my entire life. Let me share a little story. About 2 years ago, I was cleaning out my kitchen junk drawer, you know, the one with the takeout menus, expired coupons, a tangle of rubber bands, and enough twist ties to build a small rope bridge. At the very bottom, wedged under a flashlight that didn't work, I found a handful of old coins, and I thought, what if there's something special in here? I pulled out each penny, squinted at the dates, and Googled like a madman. I must have spent 3 hours cross-referencing mint marks and dates. My wife came in twice to ask why I was talking to myself. I was absolutely convinced I was about to discover our ticket to early retirement. Spoiler alert, I did not find $1 million penny that day. But you know what I did find? A 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in surprisingly good shape. It wasn't graded or anything, but just knowing it could be worth something had me hooked. That was the moment I realized this hobby isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt, and trust me, once you start looking, you'll never be able to walk past a pile of change without wondering if you're staring at a little slice of history worth a fortune. Alright, let's get practical. If you've got a jar of pennies lying around, here's how you can check for potential treasure. Get good light. You'll need it to spot doubling or other anomalies. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. This isn't the time to squint and hope for the best. Check the coin's condition. Is it bright and shiny, free of scratches and nicks? That's your ticket to a higher grade. Consider professional grading. If you find a penny that looks perfect, send it to PCGS or NGC. Yes, there's a fee, but if it's the real deal, the return on investment could be astronomical. The Lincoln penny has been in continuous production for over 100 years. Think about all the pockets, lunchboxes, and sidewalks these coins have passed through. The original pennies were made mostly of copper. These days, they're 97.5% zinc with a copper coating. So technically, you're carrying around zinc discs dressed up like copper. Some collectors call pennies cents, but if you really want to sound fancy, you can refer to them as 1-cent coins. But let's be honest, penny just feels friendlier. There's a small but mighty subculture of folks who collect error coins exclusively. They treat them like rare art, and when a unique piece like this 2013 no-mint mark penny shows up, they'll do anything to get it to. Let's say you find one that looks promising. Don't just toss it back in the jar. Use soft cotton gloves to handle it. Your fingers have oils that can damage the surface. Store it in a coin flip or an airtight capsule. Keep it somewhere dry and cool. No steamy bathrooms or humid basements. So, there you have it. One humble penny from 2013, no mint mark, potentially worth up to $1.8 million if you find the right combination of rarity and perfection. Not bad for something that could have bought exactly one gumball or about 3 seconds of parking time. I hope this inspired you to take another look at that pile of spare change you've been ignoring. Who knows? Maybe you're sitting on the jackpot right now, and all it takes is a little curiosity and a magnifying glass to find it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the secret world of valuable pennies, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on tips to uncover hidden treasures in your own home. I'm always here to share more coin collecting strategies, fun stories, and ways you could turn everyday change into real wealth. We're going to talk all about the 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin that looks as ordinary as a paperclip but could bankroll your retirement if you're lucky enough to find one. So grab a cup of coffee or maybe a stiff drink, whatever suits your mood, and settle in because for the next 40 minutes, we're diving deep into what makes this little penny so mind-blowingly valuable. And along the way, I'll share some stories, a few laughs, and tips on how you can spot a jackpot penny in your own stash. Alright, let's start with a little background. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909. That's over 100 years of little Abraham Lincoln staring solemnly at us every time we drop change into a vending machine. But the 1990 penny has a twist. In 1990, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies. In fact, they made more than $6 billion that year. So you'd think nothing could make a 1990 penny special, right? Wrong. Here's where the magic happens. Usually, proof coins are minted in San Francisco and stamped with an S-mint mark. These proof coins are the fancy ones, mirror-like surfaces, sharp details, the kind collectors drool over. But in 1990, a small batch of proof pennies were struck without the S-mint mark. They just say 1990 beneath the date, no letter at all. But to a collector, that's like finding a Mona Lisa with an extra eyebrow. A true rarity. Only a few of these no-mint mark proofs are known to exist, and they're worth an eye-watering sum. Imagine it this way. You're sitting in your recliner, sorting through your change while the dog snores at your feet. You see this shiny penny and notice there's no mint mark. You shrug, thinking it's just a regular old coin. But it's not. It's potentially worth nearly $2 million. That's the kind of surprise that could make you spit out your coffee. Let's talk about what exactly makes these coins so valuable. It's all about rarity and condition. The no mint mark 1990 proof pennies were an accident. Someone forgot to put the little S stamp on the die before striking the coins. Because proofs are carefully packaged and sold to collectors, most ended up safe in their original cases. But only a handful missed the mint mark. Fewer still remain in perfect condition today. If you've got one of these in pristine proof condition, no scratches, no fingerprints, it could easily sell for upwards of $1.9 million at auction. And yes, people have actually paid that much now. Before you start tearing apart the couch cushions, here's how you can tell if you've got one. First, look for that beautiful mirror-like surface. The fields of the coin should shine like glass, and the raised area should have a frosty, almost 3D look. Next, look under the date. No S-mint mark? You just might have struck gold, well, coppered. I remember the first time I learned about this penny. I was visiting my Uncle Joe. He's one of those guys who keeps jars of coins in every room. Kitchen, bedroom, even the bathroom. We were sitting there, sorting pennies on the kitchen table while he told me stories about collecting coins back in the 60s. He picked up a 1990 penny and said, "You know, one of these is worth a fortune." I laughed and thought he was messing with me. But sure enough, he pulled out an old collector's guide and showed me the listing. Right there in black and white, a 1990 no mint mark proof penny worth nearly $2 million. I nearly fell out of my chair. He didn't have one, but ever since, I've been checking every 1990 penny I come across. And you'd better believe my eyes practically pop out of my head every time I see one that looks shiny. So how do you protect your potential treasure? If you think you've got the real deal, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin is the fastest way to turn $1 million find into a $5 curiosity. Instead, handle it gently by the edges and put it in a soft cloth or protective case. Then get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and assign it a grade, which is crucial for determining its value. Let's go a little deeper on grading. For coins, condition is everything. A 1990 no-mint mark penny that's scuffed up might be worth thousands, but a pristine proof can hit that $1.9 million jackpot. Grading is done on a 70-point scale, with 70 being a flawless coin. The top prices go to coins that grade 69 or 70, because they are essentially perfect. Fair question. The odds are slim, but not impossible. Remember, several have already surfaced in collections, and some may still be hidden away in proof sets people forgot about. If you inherited coins or picked up a proof set at a garage sale, you might be holding a life-changing discovery. Think about how many times you've dismissed a penny as worthless. I used to toss them in a big jar, never thinking twice. But when you realize a little copper coin could be worth millions, you look at every penny differently. Even my neighbor Bob started searching. He calls me once a week to report on what he's found. So far, no jackpot, but a few interesting errors and varieties that sold for hundreds. Not bad for coins that cost him face value. Check proof sets from 1990. Those are the most likely source of no-mint mark proofs. Look closely at any shiny 1990 pennies, especially if you bought them in an estate sale or inherited them. Use a magnifying glass. Some mint marks are faint, so make sure you see clearly. Keep your coins safe. Store them in a cool, dry place. If you suspect you have a rare coin, get it graded professionally before you sell or even show it around. Grading is your ticket to top dollar. A coin without professional certification is a gamble for buyers, and you'll leave money on the table. Some folks ask me, why would anyone pay millions for a penny? Well, think about art collectors. They spend millions on paintings. Same with classic cars, sports memorabilia, or rare stamps. Collecting coins is no different. To the right buyer, rarity and perfection are worth every penny, pun intended, and let's be honest, it's pretty fun imagining the look on your banker's face when you walk in to deposit a check for $1.9 million from selling a single penny. So there you have it, folks. The humble 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, proof that sometimes the most ordinary-looking things can hide extraordinary value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, this is your sign to start checking your coins. Because one day, you might be the person in the headlines who found a fortune hiding in plain sight. Before you head off to rummage through your piggy bank, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel. Every week, I share insider tips, coin collecting strategies, and stories about people who turn spare change into serious money. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to learn about the next coin that could make you a millionaire. That helps you turn that pocket change into life-changing cash. Let me ask you this, have you ever pulled a penny out of your couch cushions, looked at it, and thought, man, this thing is basically worthless? Well, today I'm here to tell you, you might want to reconsider tossing that copper beauty into the tip jar, because buried among the billions of ordinary pennies is a rare little coin that could buy you a mansion, a Lamborghini, and maybe a lifetime supply of beef jerky, if you're into that sort of thing. We're talking about the 1993 VDB Lincoln penny. That's right. This unassuming coin from Denver could be worth $1 million. Stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly what makes this penny so special, how to identify it, and how you might already own one without even knowing it. And trust me, I'll share a personal story of the time I almost spent a fortune on a vending machine burrito, all because I didn't check my change. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a snack, and let's jump in. First, let's get a little backstory. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909. That's over a century of Abraham Lincoln chilling in our pockets, under our car seats, and wedged in the sofa. But not every Lincoln penny is created equal. In fact, the 1993 D version has become the stuff of legend among collectors, mostly because of a few key factors we're about to break down. First, the D mint mark means it was struck in Denver. In 1993, the Denver Mint produced an enormous number of pennies. But here's the twist, some coins came out with unusual die errors, off-center strikes, and in extremely high-grade conditions that nobody expected. If you've got a 1993 D penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning no scratches, no gum stuck on it, no rust, it could command huge money at auction. A few examples graded MS-70, which is basically coin speak for absolute perfection, have sold or been valued at up to $1 million. Let that sink in. One little copper coin, $1 million, you might see doubling in the lettering. Look closely at Liberty or the date. Little raised lines running across the coin's surface, This means the coin looks fresh from the mint. Imagine finding one of these in your spare change. You'd be the hero of your own treasure story. Let me tell you about the time I nearly spent a small fortune on a stale burrito. One day, I was at the office, hungry, broke, and desperate. I dug around in my backpack for coins. Among the pennies, I saw one that looked almost brand new. I thought, shiny. Must be lucky. I fed it into the vending machine, pressed B7, and watched a rubbery bean burrito drop down. Later that week, I was reading an article about rare coins. I scrolled down and saw a photo of the exact penny I'd spent. 1993D, brilliant uncirculated. If you're ever wondering whether to check your coins before feeding them into the burrito machine, learn from my mistake. The closer to perfect, the better. Look for glossy surfaces and no contact marks. Use a magnifying glass. Doubling in the letters is a major clue. To be sure, you can send your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and grade it. Condition is everything. A circulated 1993D penny might still be interesting, but it won't make you a millionaire unless it's an exceptional error or an uncirculated grade. Experts estimate there are only a tiny handful of MS-70 1993D pennies. They're so scarce that when one hits the market, it makes headlines in collector circles. So don't think you're going to find a whole jar full of these. But hey, you only need one. MS-70 specimens with exceptional luster and no marks, up to $1 million at auction. Demand from collectors is what drives the price. There are people willing to outbid each other for the finest known examples. Don't clean it. Seriously. Even a gentle scrubbing can destroy value. Store it safely. Use a coin flip or capsule to protect the surface. Get it graded. Certification is essential for top dollar. Sell through reputable dealers or auction houses. Avoid random buyers who might lowball you. Be patient. The right buyer can take time to find, but it's worth it. Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back had been unchanged since 1959. The D mint mark stands for Denver, Colorado. Even ordinary looking pennies can hide valuable secrets. Sorting pennies can feel about as fun as watching paint dry. But you can make it easier. Keep a magnifying glass by your coin jar. Use good lighting. Focus on dates and mint marks first. Learn to spot the high value clues quickly. Take breaks so you don't start hallucinating that all the pennies are winking at you. So the next time you see a shiny penny, don't underestimate it. That 1993D Lincoln cent could be your ticket to a brand new life. Imagine telling your friends, yeah, I got rich off a penny. You'd be the legend of every dinner party. Before you go dump your spare change in the Coinstar machine, take a few minutes to look. That little copper coin might be worth $1 million. If you do find one, do me a favor, skip the vending machine burrito. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you had some laughs, learned something new, and feel inspired to start your own treasure hunt, where we turn pocket change into life-changing fortunes. Now, before you think I've completely lost my marbles, let me ask you a question. Have you ever dropped a penny, looked down at it, and thought, it's just a penny, not worth bending over? Well, what if I told you that one of those ordinary little copper coins could be worth over $1 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about the 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that has shocked collectors and made a few lucky folks a whole lot richer. So grab your coin jar, pour yourself a strong cup of coffee, and settle in. We're going to dive deep into why this coin is worth $1.1 million and how you can spot one of these treasures hiding in plain sight. And stick around, because I'll share a personal story about the day I almost threw away a small fortune. Alright, let's start by setting the scene. The year is 1987. Ronald Reagan is in the White House. Hairspray is the primary ingredient in most people's morning routine, and the Lincoln penny is rolling off the presses at full speed. Most of these pennies were minted in Philadelphia, which is why they have no mint mark. Millions and millions of them. So why on earth would one of them be worth over $1 million? First off, the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't valuable just because it's old. It's valuable because of a few extremely rare factors. One is the pristine condition. We're talking about coins that were never circulated, never spent on bubblegum or wedged between couch cushions. Mint state coins, graded MS-68 or higher, are almost flawless. These grades are rarer than a polite teenager. Another factor is a very specific die variety that collectors go nuts over. Some 1987 pennies have subtle doubling on Lincoln's profile and the date. To the untrained eye, it might look like a blurry stamp, but to collectors, it's like striking gold. Finally, demand drives up price. Serious collectors will open their wallets wide to snag a piece that completes their perfect set. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale. Anything over MS65 is considered high grade. An MS68 1987 penny is almost like it just came off the press yesterday. One MS68 red 1987 no mint mark Lincoln cent sold for $1.1 million. That's right. Somebody paid more for a penny than most folks pay for a house. Imagine paying off your mortgage with a single coin. That's why I say, check your change before you go spending it on gas station beef jerky. First, check the color. The most valuable specimens are a rich, bright red. Not brown, not dull, but shiny like a new penny. Second, look for any doubling on Lincoln's nose, chin, or the date. A magnifying glass helps, but if you want to get serious, invest in a jeweler's loupe. For nicks, scratches, or fingerprints. Imperfections drop the value faster than a bowling ball off a roof. If you think you have a winner, it's time to send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm whether your penny is $1 million treasure or just a really clean piece of copper. Well, it's a combination of passion, investment, and the thrill of the hunt. Some folks see rare coins like this as a hedge against inflation. Others just love the idea of owning something unique. And a lot of people, like me, got hooked because it's downright fun when you're digging through rolls of coins. You never know if you're about to find your retirement fund. About 5 years ago, I was helping my dad clean out his garage. He had a coffee can full of pennies, all covered in dust. I picked it up, and he said, "Just dump them in the Coinstar machine." I almost did. But something in my gut said, "You know what, let's take a look." I spent 3 nights hunched over the kitchen table, squinting at pennies until I started dreaming about Lincoln's beard. A 1987 no mint mark Lincoln cent, bright red, barely handled. I sent it in for grading, thinking maybe it was worth $100. It came back MS67. Not quite $1 million find, but it still sold for over $2,000. I bought my dad a recliner with that money, and he still sits in it today, bragging about how he almost threw away a fortune. Even lower mint state coins can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. So every time you see a 1987 penny, don't just toss it in the tip jar. Give it a good look. Start by gathering all the pennies you have lying around. Invest in a magnifier. Download the PCGS app to compare photos. Keep coins in protective flips or tubes, and above all, be patient. This hobby rewards curiosity and persistence. You won't find $1 million penny every day, but the hunt is half the fun. While you're at it, keep an eye out for other valuable pennies. The 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S double die, all of them worth serious money, but the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny in top condition is right up there among the holy grails. All 1987 pennies are valuable. Not true. Condition and rarity are everything. Cleaning a penny makes it more valuable. No way, cleaning actually destroys value. You need to be rich to collect coins. Nope, you can start with pocket change. The $1 million secret hiding in plain sight. The 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes, the most ordinary things are anything but. So the next time you find a penny, don't just flick it into the jar. Take a moment, have a closer look, and remember, the little coin could be worth more than your car, your house, and your in-laws' house combined. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on turning everyday coins into wealth-building treasures, hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell so you don't miss any of our weekly coin hunting strategies, and if you've got your own story about finding a rare coin, or almost throwing one away like I nearly did, drop it in the comments.